It's been a while. Should I do this as my new official reporter voice? It's been a while since we've done a news video. It's time to step back into it. For everyone on Twitter saying, were you just gonna debate me about Godzilla vs. Kong? Just debate me about it already. You're not worth it. I'm not gonna waste my time on you. There are people who are too set in their ways that are quite honestly annoying. And so I just don't want to deal with that because it's just annoying. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla vs. Kong news and updates. Chapter times in the description below. Skip to whichever story you want. Before we jump into the news, I have to show off this clip because it's the most amazing thing I've ever found in my entire life. It's this amazing clip of Shinji Higuchi, one of the co-directors for Shin Godzilla, and an Ifukube tribute orchestra singing Punch 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 at a bar. It's incredible. What the context of that is, I've got no idea, but I don't think I need to know. I don't care. It's just awesome. Also, before we begin with the news, let's show off. This one's not gonna really be art, but it's like memes. You guys had some good memes that I was like, oh, that's probably worth showing off. Goji 2020 hitting us with the perfectly balanced meme. And look, I know people don't believe me when I say this, but it doesn't matter who I like more, Godzilla or Kong. It really just doesn't matter because it fluctuates so much. I made a video on who do I like more, Godzilla vs. Kong. I made that video back in 2016, and in that video I run through the history, how I was way more into Kong in my childhood than I was Godzilla, how that shifted when I became a teenager and I became more into Godzilla. And in that video I said it doesn't matter, it just shifts with the time. At the moment in that video it was Godzilla was my favorite. In that video I acknowledge once Kong has a new movie in 2017, I'm sure he'll become my favorite again. And that did happen. Yeah, Kong became my favorite again for a while, and then Godzilla, and then Kong, and then we're here where it doesn't matter. I'm not going to tell you who I like more at the moment. It doesn't matter. They're perfectly balanced. I love them both equally. Also, I really like this Kong and Ghidorah meme. This one's pretty popular. It's actually kind of canon too. If you read the novelization, Kong hears Ghidorah's alpha call, and rather than responding to it, he goes, no thanks, I'm gonna sit this one out. He actually gets pretty upset by it. He does not like hearing the alpha call. He's not a fan of it. All right, you guys ready for the first leaked clip to come out of this movie? Okay, are you ready? Here it is. It is a clip of Kong beating his chest, roaring in the rain. It's kind of awesome. Now, that is a leaked clip, okay, from the never before seen footage from Comic-Con 2012, and it doesn't really matter because they're not actually making that movie anymore, but that is our first look at Kong, the original Kong, from, well, it's not actually our first look, is it? We have a still image of him, but that is our first video of Kong from 2014 in the unmade Kong Skull Island. That was the concept teaser they showed at Comic-Con 2014. I think that's awesome. He looks so powerful in that clip. Like, that Kong, I feel like if that was the Kong that we saw in Skull Island, people would be like, oh, he can fight Godzilla. Even if it was the same execution of the movie, like even if everything was treated the same, there's just something more menacing about that design than there is about the 2017 design. I personally like the 2017 design more, but I'm just saying that design is pretty freaking menacing. I would not like to see that thing coming at me, but then again, I would be pretty terrified to see Kong barreling towards me as well from 2017's Kong Skull Island. That'd be quite horrifying. All right, here's an actual, I don't know if we want to call it a leak, but it's footage from behind the scenes filming of Godzilla vs. Kong. It was taken at night. You just see a whole bunch of soldiers shooting on like a street or whatever. I really don't know the context of it, so there's not really much we can say about it. Godzilla vs. Kong wrapped filming a few months ago, so it is officially done. They are done filming. Principal photography is over. That is still open to reshoots if they want to do those. I don't know. It kind of seems late in the game to be doing reshoots considering the movie comes out in a matter of months, but we'll see. We have some behind the scenes images of the production team for Godzilla vs. Kong. It's like a bunch of special special effects supervisors or something, costume design and everything like that. Just a bunch of the people who don't often get the credit they deserve. So we have some pictures of them and their little merch that they got for working on the film. There is the first official Godzilla vs. Kong banner. It's pretty sweet. It is Godzilla fighting Kong. You got the orange and purplish background. Both characters are purple silhouette, Godzilla and Kong. You see the cool text here. I don't have a whole lot to say about it because it is very similar to the leaked banner we got about a year ago maybe, which was the same image, Kong jumping, about to punch Godzilla right in the head, except that that one was flipped. It was just a flipped image, but I do think it's fairly similar. It might be the same pictures of Godzilla and Kong. It's just that this one's an official banner for the movie, whereas that one was just in the behind the scenes pictures that we got. There you go. It's a good look at both monsters in the new movie. Godzilla retains his 2019 design. Kong retains his Skull Island design, except that he sports a beard now. We still don't get a great look at that. And again, these are just drawing animated versions of the characters, so these aren't the finalized full designs for the film. They could be subject to change, but it is cool to see. If you look here, Kong does seem to be pretty evenly sized with Godzilla. Of course, he is jumping in the image, so it's kind of hard to tell how big he's going to actually be, but going off head size alone, Kong looks to be fairly sized up in this new movie. I mean, Kong is obviously going to be sized up. They even state it in Kong Skull Island that he's still growing, but you see this image and you go, oh yeah, he's a big boy now. We also saw images of the banner at an expo. I'm not sure which expo this is, but that is a Toho booth that featured the banner, which is important when we start talking about Comic-Con. Warner Brothers was looking to push back Godzilla vs. Kong's release date out of fear that the movie would underperform at the box office. That's kind of what it was, right? Warner Brothers was like, Godzilla King of the Monsters didn't do as well as we wanted it to, so what we'll do instead is we'll just take Godzilla vs. Kong, we'll push it way back in the year at some unknown point, and that'll deliver an A+ rating. That's not really how movies work. I mean, you do want to move it to a less crowded time zone, but March isn't horribly crowded at the moment. If it was up to me, I would take Godzilla vs. Kong and put it in August. That's just where I'd put it, but it's not up to me, so they're going to do what they want to do. They were looking for a towards the end of the year release date. A lot of people were worried that that meant the massive reshoots were coming. However, none of that seemed to come to fruition because Legendary stepped in and announced that on March 11th, the movie would come out internationally. This was reported through Deadline. So it was reported that on March 11th, Godzilla vs. Kong would release internationally, and then on March 13th, which was the original release date for the movie was going to come out. So it looked like the movie did not undergo a release date change. It does appear to retain its March release date. That being said, it really makes me upset that the movie comes out 2 days earlier everywhere else but the US. The reason that worries me so much is because there's only one thing that matters, right? And that's who wins the fight, and that is going to get spoiled. I'm worried that that'll get spoiled as is because all the King of the Monsters leaks that came out just kind of ruined the movie, and so I'm worried about that. But when the movie officially comes out everywhere but the US, it is going to be very hard to avoid spoilers. So fingers crossed that I can get into some early screening for the movie, whether it be a test screening, which is not going to happen, but it could be a test screening, that'd be sweet, or if I could get into a pre-screening or something like that, that'd be awesome. I don't know if that's going to happen. It didn't with Godzilla King of the Monsters, but it did with Kong Skull Island, so I'll never say never. Toho is looking to bring Godzilla to San Diego Comic-Con for the first time. Godzilla will have his own booth there for the first time. He's never had his own booth there before. They are planning on bringing green screens, murals, the Godzilla 2000 suit, different props from different movies, posters, and they are planning on doing giveaways. Again, I think that's pretty important considering look back at the previous Toho Expo where they showed off the Godzilla vs. Kong banner. I think they may have some sort of Godzilla vs. Kong related stuff there that they're not revealing to us. They may not though. They may just be keeping it for themselves, just Toho Godzilla. They may not need to though, because if we take a look at what's happening outside of them with the Monsterverse, Monarch took the first step in giving us an indication that we were going to get something big by blocking us from viewing July 19th on their website. You used to previously be able to set your clock ahead and then you'd get to see what was going to happen on the website before it actually happened. You're not going to get to do that anymore. They stop us from viewing March 19th. They don't want us to see what happens. It's on their website, so you can try it for yourself. It won't work. That is during SDCC weekend, so who knows what's going to happen. Well, it looks like Godzilla King of the Monsters is having a panel on March 19th. It's interesting that it's King of the Monsters. It's stated to be a Monsterverse panel, but it's got the King of the Monsters cast, or so it says. And it is called The Aftermath of King of the Monsters. So Godzilla will have a panel, the Monsterverse will have a panel at SDCC, despite Warner Brothers not making a formal appearance at the convention. Pretty interesting that they decided to do it that way. I know Warner Brothers wants to focus on their horror stuff at their own conventions, so maybe they're going to push Godzilla out then, and they are also probably going to release a Wonder Woman trailer at the same time, just like, hey, we're still in the game, we're just not doing Comic-Con this year in the way that we used to. That's what I would expect. They have already announced that they will be doing this Monsterverse panel with the King of the Monsters cast. I had to guess that probably means that it's going to be Zaya Zhang, Kyle Chandler, and Millie Bobby Brown, the only characters from King of the Monsters that will be carried over into Godzilla vs. Kong. Kong. Michael Dougherty and Adam Wingard might also be there. That would be a safe guess. At least Michael Dougherty. That is happening on Friday, July 19th as well. So something is going down on the 19th that they don't want us to know about. It could be Monarch was just trying to stop us from figuring out that they were going to have a panel before it was announced, so they didn't want us to see all the monsters converging. But I think instead what's going to happen is Skull Island is going to open up. We are finally going to be able to access the Skull Island site, which is Outpost 33. And then I believe from there, we will get a trailer. At least I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we will get some footage, right? Or at least an image. Give us a still image. Godzilla King of the Monsters got its first reveal images and the trailer around this point last year. It was around mid-July when we started to get that stuff. Now, Godzilla King of the Monsters was a full year away from releasing, whereas Godzilla vs. Kong is only something like 9 months away from releasing. So they're going to have to start putting out stuff sooner or later. I'm thinking we're going to get a trailer. And that would coincide with what we have heard from Cinema Europe, or from Cine Europe, which was a previous convention that was treated to exclusive footage from Godzilla vs. Kong. If I had to guess, that exclusive footage will not be exclusive very much longer. Let's talk about Michael Dougherty for a minute. Michael Dougherty did an SFX interview, which is a magazine. He did an interview with the magazine in which he talked a lot about Godzilla King of the Monsters, but he also talked about Godzilla vs. Kong. We've covered all the King of the Monsters stuff he spoke on in previous videos, so we will just be talking about Godzilla vs. Kong in this one. In that interview, he talks about how Kong is able to show more emotion than Godzilla. Kong will be a lot closer with humans in Godzilla vs. Kong than Godzilla will. There is a human element to Kong that isn't present with Godzilla. Dougherty enjoyed writing the human side of Kong. He says that Godzilla isn't expected to have as many human moments as Kong, and then he says that Godzilla's bond with humans is more implied, and we rarely ever get to see that softer side of the character, whereas with Kong, it's an essential part of the character. It is the core of the character. Again, go back and watch that Kong being the villain in the Monsterverse video I made, where I talked about how they have made Kong much more sympathetic in the Monsterverse than they have previously, and they have tried to humanize the character a lot more than they have previously so that we can empathize with him on a way that we couldn't before. I don't need to continue that argument, but ultimately, come on guys, Kong's not going to be the bad guy. Even on that video, which you guys are typically pretty harsh on Kong videos, you guys don't really like those. Even on that video though, you were like, yeah, no, it wouldn't make sense for Kong to be the bad guy, despite everyone telling me the exact opposite on the Godzilla video. Everyone's saying, Godzilla can't be the bad guy, Kong's the bad guy. Michael Dougherty continued to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong, which he did help co-write on Bloody Disgusting, so we have some interesting information coming out of there. Dougherty says that the fight will be fun. The reason it will be fun is because Kong is the underdog. I don't know why that would be the case, but he says because Kong's the underdog, it's going to be a fun fight. They're obviously going to have to scale Kong up, make him a lot more formidable in the movie, but he still will be the underdog. So Dougherty says that that is what people will be rooted in the fight, is wanting Kong to win. He doesn't say those words, so I don't want to make it seem like he does, but he's saying that we're going to enjoy the underdog aspect of Kong in the fight, which, there you go. I mean, that kind of makes it sound like, to me, as I was just saying, Kong is going to be the one that we relate to more, that we want to win. If Kong is the underdog and we're all supposed to root for Godzilla, we're just going, oh, Godzilla, whoop his butt, come on, you can do it. Whereas if Kong is the underdog, we're like, oh god, Kong, you gotta pull this one off, come on, man, and we're all rooting for him. Dougherty says that Kong is the David to Godzilla's Goliath. Now, if you know anything about David and Goliath, you know that David was a lot scrawnier than Goliath. He really shouldn't have won the fight, but he does win the fight. Maybe Kong will do the same. Michael Dougherty is acknowledging that people know that Kong doesn't stand a chance, or that people think Kong doesn't stand a chance. He says, you know, it's a common thing. You say Godzilla and Kong are gonna fight, and people go, oh yeah, Godzilla takes the victory, but that's not necessarily gonna be the case. Dougherty says that Kong in Skull Island was already formidable enough to take on Godzilla. All he needed was to be full grown, and now that he is, he will be able to fight Godzilla. Dougherty gives Kong multiple advantages in this interview, stating that Kong is extremely intelligent. As a primate, he's a tool user. That will be one of Kong's advantages in the fight, I'm sure. I mean, Dougherty says it flat out, so yeah, Kong's gonna be using tools to his advantage during the fight. Dougherty also states that Kong has speed and agility on Godzilla, and his final quote is pretty interesting. He says he might have some good size. I don't know what that means. Does that mean he's gonna have size on Godzilla? Does that mean Kong's gonna be the bigger one in the fight? That would be quite shocking. None of us would anticipate that one happening. I don't think so. If Kong's still gonna be the underdog in the battle, he's gonna be smaller. That's just what I'm gonna say. Dougherty compares the fight to Rocky versus Ivan Drago. Again, Rocky is the smaller guy in the fight, and he still pulls it off, beating Ivan Drago, someone who very much should have won the fight. Again, we might see the same with Kong. Dougherty says that Kong will have surprises up his sleeve in the new movie. Whether he means it's going to be the lightning hands or not, I would doubt it. I think he just means Kong's going to be pulling off some crafty fighting techniques. And then he says that they will come into conflict in a way that is sound and not contrived for the Monsterverse, and that they will have their own motivations for the battle. For Godzilla's end, it could be because Godzilla has a personal grudge against Kong's species. For Kong's end, it could be because Godzilla killed off some of his ancestors, or it could be because Godzilla kind of ruined his island in some way, shape, or form, or his island's just ruined. There's a million reasons why they could fight, and I'll cover cover that in a separate video. Jordy ends it by saying that they are both hyper-aggressive, masculine, territorial animals, and they both want to be king, which will play into the battle. So there you go. I mean, that's kind of saying that one of the reasons they're going to fight, if not the only, which I don't think it will be the only, but one of the reasons they're going to fight is just because they're big monsters who are going to fight. They're both alphas. They both don't bow to anybody, and that's going to cause conflict. All right, that'll do it for this one, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. D-Man, out.